Jets. We already had the request to break down the Jets in their haul. And I know we've talked about it a little bit. That's one of the teams that you like the most so far in free agency.
Don't look now, but the Jets are doing a bunch of smart things, which is something you can't say about that franchise for a while. I really like almost all of the moves that they've made. This is obviously the only issue is that they still have no real solution at quarterback, which is – now, look, the draft is still coming. I'm not saying that they should have done something now. I'm just saying that for all of the love that we're going to throw their way, it might not mean anything if they can't find an answer at quarterback.
I'm going to connect those dots. Let's discuss what they've done in free agency, and then Mike Renner has a fresh 3-round mock draft on the website, and I think it's worth looking at what the Jets did in that mock draft. So let's go through that. Carl Lawson is in, Corey Davis is in. Let's go through the Jets' moves really quick again, why we like them, and why they have an opportunity to really turn this roster over with all this draft capital.
So the Jets haven't had a top-tier pass rusher for years now. And, okay, they've run some defenses where you would say it isn't the highest priority in the world, but, new coach coming in, edge rusher is definitely a feature of his defense. Carl Lawson, I think, was arguably the best pass rusher available in this free agency at the point where Shaquille Barrett was taken off the market. He wouldn't have been the highest, he wouldn't have been the biggest name or the most coveted, I don't think, because he doesn't have the sack numbers. But this is a guy coming off a season with, I think, 64 total pressures last year, which resulted in 6 sacks. He has by far the best pass rushing grade of these guys on a consistent basis. I would say that is the best pass rusher in terms of the edge that the Jets have had since John Abraham. And he hadn't, when was the last time he played for the Jets? 2005? You're going back 15 years since the last time the Jets had a pass rusher as good as Carl Lawson. So I think that one they nailed. You could have gone with a Bud Dupree or another higher priced, higher name or bigger name, but I think Carl Lawson was the right move.
It was 2005.
Yeah, there you go. See?
Yeah, he was good.
You bring in Sheldon Rankins. I think that's a great lower level insurance policy on the defensive line, a rotation guy, a guy who at his peak when he's healthy has been worth that first-round pick. Corey Davis and Keelan Cole come in and try and repair some of the receiving core that they've had there. Pair them with Denzel Mims, with Jamison Crowder. Suddenly that's a pretty good little group that whoever the new quarterback is has to throw to. Even just the throwaway moves they've made. LaMarcus Joyner for a 1-year, $4.5 million deal. And they've said to play safety, which is always his thing. At slot corner, the guy has not been good. At free safety, the guy has a PFF career grade in the 90s. So,
we've seen him bounce. He went from slot corner to safety, back to slot corner in that one peak year and a half or whatever it was at safety.
And he's getting older now, so it's not like it's a slam dunk the way it might have been a few years ago. But for a 1-year, $4.5 million deal, move him back to free safety and see if that still plays, that's great business.
Yeah, and then, the Sheldon Rankins deal, they get him for 2 years, 8.5 guaranteed, $17 million total. Sheldon Rankins is one of those guys. It was just the potential's there, right? Yeah. He's shown the flashes through the years. So adding him and Carl Lawson along the defensive line, adding LaMarcus Joyner at safety, as you said, to a specific role to play opposite Marcus May, love it, and just continue to throw resources at wide receiver.
And retaining Marcus May, franchise tag,
right.
Keep him in the building.
That was the beginning of it, right? That was the beginning of this offseason move. So I like Renner. So Renner's got the mock draft up. And look, this should get Jets fans excited. And the fun of mock drafts is when you see a team that has so many picks, you just kind of see the possibilities and what it's like or how much talent they could potentially add. I like Renner does, everybody's got to try to have some clever write-up on each player. He's got 3 words on Trevor Lawrence. No one they could have signed in free agency is changing this one. And that's it, Trevor Lawrence. It's essentially, the mock is how free agency changed the draft, right? So Trevor Lawrence goes number 1. He gives Zach Wilson to the Jets at number 2. And I think there's your quarterback. So now we're building and rallying around Zach Wilson. So what do you do beyond that if you're the Jets? At 23 overall, this is the Jamal Adams pick. Renner goes with Kwity Paye, who's number 1 on our edge defender list, but not sure if the NFL, I don't know how they value him. Mm-hmm. A guy that's had some production, but we've mentioned before, there's no Chase Young in this draft. There's no Bosa in this draft. The edge class could be all over the place, but Kwity Paye comes in to play with Carl Lawson. I mean, between the two, you're probably going to find an elite edge rusher. So I love that at 23. Then you get at 34, Dylan Radun's offensive tackle from North Dakota State, potential starting tackle. You put him on the right side. You got Mekhi Becton on the left. There's a need filled. And then at 66, round 3, Afiadu Melifonwu. Another Melifonwu who just crushed it. The Melifonwus are really good athletically. Just crushed it at his pro day. The dude's huge,
Shocker.
moves well.
Yeah.
And who knows what he ends up being. But if you talk about a massive corner, that could be a fit, round 3. That's great. And then Amon-Ra St. Brown, another third rounder, another wide receiver from USC who's probably a second round caliber player as well. So, man, that's the potential that the Jets have when you sprinkle those draft picks around the free agent moves that they've made. And this team could be one of the most improved in the league this year.
Yeah, when you start sketching out like an ideal scenario for the Jets, that gets pretty close. Just if you were only drafting for the Jets and you were trying to pick out a great draft for them, it would end up pretty close to that. So for him to sketch out that scenario in the process of a 3-round mock draft, that would be outstanding return for the Jets. Look, I think they've done a lot of smart things. They're moving in the right direction. It all hinges on nailing the quarterback evaluation, whether it's Zach Wilson, whether it's Justin Fields, whoever it is. And even if it's, I hate the idea, but even if it's, hey, we think that Sam Darnold can be salvaged here and we're going to build around him. And look, his situation has been wretched between supporting cast and coaching and the offensive system he's been in. We believe that he's the guy that can turn it around. And we are the people that believe or that agree with Dan Orlovsky. Look, if they're right, that's it. It all hinges on them being right on that one move to validate everything else they've done.